Good evening, boys and girls. Tonight we are going to continue looking at today's math lesson and then relate it to what we're going to be doing tomorrow. When you look at the problem that I have written, 14 times 24, we learned today that we could make a grid and we can break 14 into a 10 and a 4 and the 23 into 20 and 3. If you remember correctly, we first said that we could multiply these in any order that we wanted to. So we could start with 4 times 3 and put 12 in the box that lines up with 4 times 4 and the 3. Then we can do 4 times the 20, and we know from our previous learning that 4 times 2 is 8, and since that's a 10, we can put a 0 after it, so we have 4 times 20 equals 80. Then we're going to move up to the 10 times the 3, and again, we know that that's going to be a 30. And then when we do 10 times 20, we know we have to have 2 zeros in our answer because we are multiplying 2 tens, and 1 times 2 equals 2. So then we have the partial products of 200 plus 30, which gives us 230, and 80 plus 12, which gives us 92. We can add those together, and we get our 1s equals 2. Our 10s place is going to equal 12. So we put down our 20 and regroup our 100, because that's really 30 plus 90. And then we do 100 plus 200, which equals 300. We can also check to make sure that we are correct by saying 200 plus 80 is 280, and 280 plus 30 is 310, and 310 plus 12 is 322. So either way, we end up with 322. Now, tomorrow's math lesson is going to be doing this algorithm of 14 times 23 and doing our partial products like we did with, let's say, 14 times 3. So our first move is going to be to multiply 4 times 3, and that gives us 12. And we're going to write that down. So that partial product is 3 times 4, and that gives us our 12. And then we're going to do 3 times 10, which equals 30. Then we've completed multiplying the 14 by our 3. We multiplied the 1s and then the 10s. Now we're going to move to our 20, and we're going to say 20 times 4, which equals 80. And then we are going to do 20 times 10, which equals 200. And you will notice that that sets up in the same way as our grid, with our 20 times 10 located right here. Our 20 times 4 is located here. Our 3 times 10 is in our top box to the right, and then our 3 times 4 is 12. Again, it doesn't matter what order we do this in, but when we're doing our algorithm the long way with the partial products, we want to do it in an order, because eventually we are going to get to our traditional algorithm, and you do have to follow an order for that. So this is just one more way of us looking at this problem and being able to break it down into simpler problems. So adding our 1s, we have 2. Add our 10s, and we have 1 and 3 is 4, and 4 and 8 is 12. So that would be 10 plus 30 plus 80 is 120. So we put down our 20 and we regroup our 100, and our 100 plus 200 equals 300. And you will notice that we get the exact same answer of 322. The reason why we're learning how to do this, boys and girls, is twofold. One, it shows us how we can break down this problem into simpler problems, because it's easy to do 3 times 4 and 3 times 10, and any multiple of 10 is easy to do because we know we just break it down to our basic fact. And secondly, it starts us being able to find the place where we are going to be writing our answers when we get to our standard algorithm. So I'm going to show you another problem. I will stop this and then start my recording to show you a second one. Okay, our second problem is going to be 27 times 51. Now, again, I'm just going to put this grid over here so that this helps you remember. 27 would be 20 and 7, and 51 is 50 and 1. So, we're first going to do 1 times 7, and that partial product is 7. Then we are going to do 1 times 20, and that partial product is going to be 20. Then we are going to multiply 50 times 7, so that's 350. And then we are going to do 50 times 20, which I'm going to put down my 2 zeros because this is kind of tricky. Since 2 times 5 equals 10, I want to make sure I have all my zeros down. Then I'm going to add all those partial products up, and I have 7, and 20 plus 50 equals 70, and 300 plus nothing is 300, and 1,000 plus nothing is 1,000. We have 1,377. So I'm going to go over here to my grid that I made earlier, and I'm just going to check my work with that. So I'm going to start with 20 times 50, and again I'm going to put my 2 zeros down so I don't forget that that's what I have, because 2 times 5 is 10. So there's my 1,000, not a very good 1,000. And then we do 20 times 1, which is 20. And then my 7 times 50 is going to be 35. Put my 0 to show that I multiplied by my tens. And then 7 times 1 is 7. Do you notice that these partial products in the grid are the same as the partial products that we have written down underneath our problem of 27 times 51? So now I can add those together. 1,020 and 357. 7 and 20 and 50 is 70, and 0 and 300 is 300, and 1,000 and nothing is 1,000 again. Now we have 1,377. I have checked my work and it is correct. Again, the reason why we're learning this, number one, is to know how to be able to break down these problems into simpler problems, and secondly, so that we can show place and value, so that when we start doing the standard algorithm, we'll understand what those numbers actually mean. I hope you review this and you're ready for tomorrow's lesson. Have a good night.